Welcome in to another edition of the Grown Man's Podcast. My name is Tom, and across town from me, unfortunately not across the table from me, it's been a while, Hattie, since I've been able to say across the table from me, but across town from me is the man.
Over 2 months.
Yes. Too long. 2 months too long, Hattie.
Too long.
Is the interrupter himself, Hattie. How you doing tonight, Hattie?
It's been one of those weeks.
Yeah,
been real busy, stressful. It's just been one of those weeks.
So busy.
Been real long.
Yeah, so busy in fact that you lost track of the fact that we were supposed to be recording on Monday, and so here we are recording on Wednesday for our dear listeners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's completely my fault for missing the Monday recording. I completely forgot what day it was, and I went to pick up something for my wife that was a few hours away from our house, and didn't realize it until about 3/4 of the way there, so it was too late by the time I would have gotten back to be able to record. So we're doing it on a different day, but that's okay.
And then we were dangerously close today too, because you unfortunately were looking like you were going to have a very, very busy work schedule. And unfortunately might have had to miss tonight's podcast. And so you guys were so close to hearing the sad, lonely voice of just T-Bone giving you a quick 10-minute episode tonight. I am very glad that we have Hattie on the line here so that we can give you guys the quality that you deserve.
Yes, I actually just got out of from when we're recording, just got out of work about an hour and 15 hour and a half ago. And it was looking like it was going to be way longer, so I'm very happy to be able to be with you. So you didn't have to do a lonesome podcast. That'd be pretty boring. Trying to fill even just 5 or 10 minutes by yourself, talking by yourself. That'd be just not good.
I mean, you guys would hear what it's like to be inside my head, and I will tell you, it's a scary thing indeed to think about, because the number of crazy random things that go around, bouncing around the different neurons inside my brain, you would have left feeling like you had been through an experience. I will say that for sure.
It's like one of those times that you go on to YouTube to watch a video about cooking avocados, and then
does one cook avocados?
I don't know. That's just the first thing that popped in my head. And then all of a sudden, you're watching videos of why whales sink to 250 feet in the ocean. And you're like, how did I get on whales?
That is true. But
when I was looking up what I wanted for dinner,
I am.
It's the YouTube rabbit hole.
I am more interested, Hattie, in whether or not you can cook an avocado.
I'm sure you can.
I mean, I'm sure you probably could. I Googled it. It says avocados are most often eaten raw, chopped up in salad, spread on toast, or made into guacamole. This is because they can very quickly become bitter once heated. So it does not seem as though cooking an avocado is a desirable tactic. Course. Yeah.
So I will tell you, I almost actually sent you a picture, but I taken a couple bites and it wasn't pretty anymore. Because we talked about avocado toast, I don't know, probably 3 months ago on the podcast.
It was actually 1 week ago.
Oh, that was real soon.
It was 1 week ago on our Patreon exclusive podcast.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So I had avocado toast a couple days ago, and I almost sent you a picture and was like, see, this is good stuff.
Interesting.
But I didn't.
But it looked like crap.
I didn't think about it until I was halfway through the avocado toast, and then it wasn't a pretty picture.
Yes.
So I didn't send it.
Yeah. I believe in the Patreon exclusive podcast there where we were talking about it, that I had never had avocado toast and had no desire to have avocado toast because avocados, when they're not mixed and smashed into garlic and onions and olive oil and what is it, cilantro or parsley? Or
cilantro.
Yep.
Put a little jalapeno or habanero in there. Make a good guacamole.
Yeah, if you wish. Outside of that singular form of avocado usage, I am not a huge fan of avocado. Occasionally, my sushi, it's okay. Mostly because it gets lost in the wasabi soy sauce fishiness of soy sauce. I don't feel like it adds anything, and it has a very good possibility of being a detractor from flavor, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys should let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, definitely could.
And
where would they let us know about all these things?
Hattie, I'm so glad you asked, buddy. They can let us know at Twitter at GrownMansPod. They could also let us know on Instagram if you choose to do so. I don't know if we get a whole lot of foot traffic over on an Instagram page, but if you choose to do so, you can go over to Instagram and it's at Grown Man's Podcast. Or, you know what? You can send us an email at to grownmanspodcast@gmail.com, or you can drop a letter in the mail addressed only to Grown Man's Podcast, and the USPS will know what to do with it. But that is the least effective way. I'd say it takes too long to get to us. And I also want to say, before we get too much further in here, because I have a tendency to veer off into left field, Hattie, we want to thank our Patreon supporters, which is Darlene, Gus, Barry, and Wes. Thank you guys so much for your support. We really, truly do appreciate it. And we also want to thank the sponsor for this show, which is Manscaped.com. Go over to Manscaped, 20% off and free shipping if you use promo code GROWN. That's GROWN, and we will tell you a little bit more about them here in a little bit, but if you do go over there and use that promo code, it will help the podcast, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We're only sponsored through them through the end of May, so please get over there and get that taken care of ASAP. So
get buying stuff from Manscaped taken care of so you can take care of your balls.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're going to never regret the decision to go over and do that. But I want to listen. They're not paying us for 2 ad reads here, Hattie. Just the one. So we're just letting you guys know that little tidbit's coming. And if you want to help the podcast out, you can go ahead and shop over there for something. But something interesting happened in my house today.
Really?
Very interesting. I got a call from my wife.
Ooh, very. Like, this better be good, because you're putting very before interesting.
I don't know if very is some, superlative.
Nope, already done. Already said out there in stone.
Very gets thrown
Can't
around.
take it back. No takesies, backsies.
Very gets thrown around willy-nilly. It's not exactly incredible.
Now we take it very seriously here at the Grown Man's Podcast. Yeah. It better be good.
Maybe half the Grown Man's Pod takes very, very seriously. But no, I got a call from my wife today. What time was it? Probably around 7 o'clock or so. And she was very upset and very concerned because there was an enormous bear in our yard. And it was walking around, looking around the house, in our front yard and stuff. Because the bear usually comes down out of the woods. We live out in the country. Bear usually comes down and gets into our garbage, knocks it over, and then drags the garbage back up into the woods and then tears it apart. It's a fairly common occurrence, unfortunately. And it happened a couple nights ago, so we brought the garbage can into the garage. So when it came down, it was not where it normally is, and so it was looking into the garage door and stuff, and walking around in the yard and looking at the house, and so very nervous, wife figure gave me a call and was like, the bear is stalking the house, and so I was like, well, do you want me to tell you where the gun's at and how to load it and stuff? She's like, no, I don't know how to use a gun. I was like, you put bullets in, you pull the trigger, when you're pointing it at the thing, but it probably should.
You almost said you're gonna put gunpowder in it, didn't you?
No, I think I was gonna say put gun in the gun, but that would be.
I heard a gun. I was like, you were gonna say you're gonna load a muzzle loader with gunpowder.
I do have a muzzle loader, but it is I don't know where the heck it even is at, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's probably down in my gun safe, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Not the most fun gun to shoot. Anyway, so yeah, I think probably this weekend I'll probably have to make it a priority to get her up to speed on how to use and shoot a gun. Because when I'm working, I am hours away from home sometimes, and that could be problematic if there was a need for her to use a gun, not knowing where it is or how to load it or how to shoot it. So I'll probably.
Yeah, you don't want you don't want any bear breaking into your house.
No.
When you're not home.
And my son would have been fine if my son was home, but he was at work. So, unfortunately, it's just my wife and my daughter and the younger kids here. And so, I was kind of at a loss on how to, direct her. And then I got to thinking about it. Somebody that doesn't know how to use a gun probably isn't the best person to be walked through how to use a gun to fend off a bear. It's one of those things where it's
probably not.
It's a pretty high stress situation, shooting at a bear. I feel came in knocked the door down or something crazy like that. I don't think bears do that very often, but who knows? But my daughter,
I bet if she just made a loud noise,
right.
Bang some pots and pans or a stick or something, it probably would have ran off.
I'm sure it would. If it's a black bear, black bears are notorious for being fairly big scaredy cats, but they also can kill you, so there is that. But she got a picture of it through the screen on the window. So maybe I'll post a picture of it on Instagram and Twitter.
You know what? Wild animals like creeping around your house. You know what that means? You haven't been doing enough target practice and setting off fireworks and stuff at your house lately. You gotta keep them scared away.
So now, I think that shooting guns would be a good social distancing activity, don't you think? That's probably one where if you bring your own
you could stand
bullets,
6 feet away and
right,
you'd probably be fine.
You bring your own beer and your own bullets and your own gun, and we could probably make that work at some point, maybe.
You could probably make that work.
Yeah, they're starting to lift restrictions and what have you and whatnot.
Yeah. And I'm I'm not. I mean, I'm obviously careful, but I'm not super scared of the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, affect my life in significant ways. Scared anyway.
And
obviously careful and wear a mask and hand sanitizer and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
I literally go to work once in a while and go to the grocery store, and that's about it.
And I got some interesting news today. I went and got an antibody test done, and turns out I've already had the coronavirus, so I'm good to go. Yeah, back after I got back from my cruise back in March, beginning of March, I was pretty sick and had some shortness of breath, and I kind of figured that it was probably coronavirus, but I wasn't so sick that I was like, I gotta go get tested. And turns out I had it.
Wow. I half wonder if I also had it.
Yeah.
Because I had I don't know, it's probably from November to probably March where I was real sick. I had the flu a couple times, confirmed flu a couple times. But then, after I was recovering and stuff, there was a couple times where I was, sitting on the couch and I was like, man, it's kind of hard to breathe. Which you don't normally get with the flu.
Not usually.
So, I mean, the whole coronavirus thing happened before November. November is about when we started hearing about it in China. But, anybody could have flown over to China and brought it back. And that's how these things spread is, everyone brings it everywhere they go.
Right.
So it's very possible that the coronavirus was in the U.S., just not known in November, December, January. So I half wonder if I had it as well. No, I mean, I haven't been tested or anything, so nobody knows. But I'm a pretty healthy individual. Just sitting on the couch watching TV and having a spell of, hey, it's kind of hard to breathe right now.
Right.
It's pretty unusual.
Yeah. Yeah, when I had it, it was like if I breathed in too much or if I breathed out too much, it was like there was like a
tightness.
Yeah, like a sharpness, I'd say, where it made me feel like I was about to, start coughing really hard. Kind of like it was like a pinch or sharpness in my lungs. If I breathed in and breathed out too much, so it was a lot of shallow breathing. In a little bit, out a little bit, in a bit, out a bit. So that was my experience with it. Other than that, I mean, it mostly was just kind of like a cold. Nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm fairly young, fairly healthy, so it's not a situation where I was really at risk. If it was a situation where I was older or had some kind of immune disease or something like that, I would have gone in right away, if I thought that there was a chance, but I'm good. So now my family will probably run down and get tested for it also, just because obviously they were living in the house with me at that time. But yeah, you can go down to an urgent care and they'll just do it for you right then. It takes 5 minutes once you get in, and you hear back in about 5 days.
Yeah, I think there's one of the towns right over from us has an open testing center as well. Yeah. Nice. So the interesting thing is, I don't know where I was going to go with that. Yeah. I didn't have a plan.
No.
I lost it.
Hey, you know what?
I lost it right away. I was like, the interesting is, and immediately lost it.
You know what, Hattie? We're 60 episodes in here, and that's the first time that's happened, I think. So, I think
55.
Hey, we're doing all right then, bud. Look at us. Who'd have thought? Right? 55 episodes in. What? Oh,
yeah. So I looked at the stats for the particular, I know where I was going with that, for our particular county. And we have 280 some confirmed people who have had it.
Yep.
And 42 deaths.
Really?
Which is pretty high for that amount of confirmed cases.
Well, that's about 2%. A little bit less, actually, than 2%.
What?
Yeah, 280.
What?
280.
280 confirmed cases with 42 deaths?
Oh, 42.
That's more than
42.
42.
Oh,
42.
I was thinking 4.
No. I was going to say, yeah, that's like, where did you learn math? But
well,
no, like 280 some cases. I forget. I think it was 286, but I don't really remember. It was 280 something.
Yeah.
And then 42 deaths. That's pretty high.
I happen to know that in our county, one of the places where there was an outbreak was a nursing home. So I wonder if that's probably a
inflated the numbers a bit.
Yeah, that would be my guess because over, I don't know why we have to not say. I mean, over in Hornell there was a nursing home that the virus got in and kind of worked its way through. My uncle and my brother, my stepsister and her husband, they all got it as a result of that outbreak there. So, so yeah.
Yeah, just the other day there was a confirmed somebody had it in my workplace, so that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But the other thing was that because I mean it's they can tell like where people have been. Obviously, they can't say names or anything like that for medical privacy protection acts. But it was literally like me and my wife went shopping at like different places. We went to like Aldi and Walmart and Wegmans, and it was literally every place that person had been. We'd been like that day that they were there. It was like they went to Walmart, Wegmans, and my place of employment. And I was like, wow, well, I was just there all those days.
All right, so you guys probably already know something that we just found out, which is that my audio sounds like crap for the first, I don't know, 17 minutes?
18 minutes or so?
Yeah, 17, 18 minutes of the podcast. That is my bad, and I apologize. We don't have the time to go back and re-record those 18 minutes, so we are just going to keep them in. My apologies for that. And what happened was our recording program did not recognize my microphone, so it was just using the computer's built-in microphone to record my voice. So I'm liking the peaks and the valleys. I'm getting a lot better on my recording app here, Hattie, because it looks a lot sharper.
Typical T-Bone and his IT issues.
Listen, if we had recorded days ago when we were supposed to, that probably wouldn't have even happened.
Listen, on Monday I completely forgot that it was
Right.
record day because, every day's the same under quarantine.
That's
you wake
true.
up, you go to work, you do your thing, you sit on the couch, you watch some TV, and that's about all your day is.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right. So
Crazy stuff.
So we had that issue. So now we got that fixed, and hopefully, if you're listening to this right now, you didn't click off of it in the first 18 minutes because the audio sounded so trash. But yeah, that's where we're at, kind of. So it'll be
maybe
all right.
I'll edit your crappy audio to make it sound semi-okay audio.
Yeah, that would be appreciated, Hattie, because I will say it sounds pretty garbled. It does not sound like the best audio.
Well, we will see what we can do.
Okay. All right. So before we get into our NFL news segment, ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Hey, did Wes get back to us? I feel like he sent us something. Did he send us something for a news segment?
I don't know. Did he?
I
On
feel
Twitter?
like-
Where did he send it?
I feel like he might have. I know that I reached out to him about it.
Was it on Twitter?
I think so.
All right, so if you would do the ad read, I will check right now.
Okay. Well, so we would like to thank Manscaped for sponsoring this podcast. And guess what? Flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, and it is time to mow your lawn. Thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped, you can trim the hedges below the belt safely and efficiently. And that's what you want, guys. I'm talking about ball trimmers, guys. We're not talking about your Briggs & Stratton out there. We're talking about the Lawnmower 3.0. All right. Manscaped's here to make sure that your balls are smooth and smelling nice. After all, it's time for some spring cleaning. So just go ahead and go over to manscaped.com. Check out their whole line of products. It's absolutely amazing. Manscaped is the only men's brand that's dedicated to below the waist grooming. They got it absolutely on lockdown. All the other guys in the industry, they're trying to bite off these guys, beats here. They're the ones that are doing the real deal. So go over there, check them out. They got precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 3.0, which obviously I've already mentioned. It got a cordless body. It's waterproof. ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine, like ball toner and ball deodorizer, both absolutely amazing. The 3rd generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents, and I will tell you, I've been using it, and I have not had a single accident, so make sure that you guys give that a shot. And inside the package, you're also going to find the Manscaped Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. It starts to get hot outside this time of year, and if you're like me, you don't want to be having that kind of moisture going on down there without something to combat it. So you want to have the Manscaped products to tackle those problems. So go over to manscaped.com. For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts. They get the Shed Travel Bag, which is a $39 value, and they also have the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs, which are very, very nice. And go ahead, use promo code GROWN, that is GROWN, and you're going to get 20% off free shipping when you go over to manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job.
I haven't said this on air or even told you in person, but I have a slight beef with the size of T-shirts and boxer briefs that you gave me. How fat do you think I am, T-Bone? They're a little too big.
Are they big? I don't know. They sent us what they sent us. I mean, they didn't. I don't think they asked. They would have asked what size we are, but I don't think they did. But they will ask. They will ask you guys when you order, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can order whatever you want.
I mean, you're a grown man. I mean, what size did I give you? Medium?
I think you gave me an extra large T-shirt.
Did I?
Yeah, I think so.
They might have
swim in that thing.
They might have only set extra larges. I'm not sure.
All right, that's fine. I use them for like around the house T-shirts.
Yeah,
they're nice.
Yeah, they're nice. And
the boxer briefs, I use them for like working out and stuff.
There you go.
They're a little too big.
Are they?
But they're fine. Yeah, they're fine for like working out.
Yeah.
So I checked Twitter for the West conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see anything.
No. Okay.
Did he send it in the messages or like an actual tweet?
It would have been in the direct messages, but it could possibly.
There's nothing in the direct messages. Guys, check that.
All right. Well, he might have texted me personally, Hattie. Okay, I can't verify.
Come on, West.
I couldn't verify completely.
Why are you sending stuff to T-Bone?
I don't know. Yeah, he must have definitely sent it through Twitter.
No, I just checked Twitter. There's nothing on there from him.
Maybe
He must have sent. He must have sent you a personal thing. The last thing was about he was asking about music and stuff.
Yeah.
From like April.
Yeah, the end of April. That sounds about right.
Yeah, last thing from West was in April 28th.
This is not the greatest podcasting, probably though. But
it is not the greatest podcast. Why don't you say we get back on track here and actually give the people what they want? 25 minutes.
People don't want to hear us. People don't want to hear us talk about how we need to get a sweet new news drop, so that when it's time for NFL news, we can hit a drop and it goes NFL news.
Dun 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 dun. That's what they want to hear.
So
why don't you? How many news items you got? Let's get right into that.
I got a couple. I got them in a strange form today. I don't have them in my normal written down form. I have them in screenshotted form. I will start off with some arrests that happened around the league. Let's not bury the lead here, Hattie. That's probably the biggest one that everybody's been talking about. You got Ed Oliver, who's out drinking and driving and being an absolute fool. Actually, I don't think he was that high over the limit. But he did get pulled over. He had a beer bottle between his legs. He had an unregistered firearm in the car. Got arrested for DWI. He was over the limit. So, that's not the stupidest thing that an NFL player did this last week, because DeAndre Baker and Quentin Dunbar both, while at a cookout, which I don't know if they're just completely neglecting the social distancing, but come on, guys, you gotta be responsible citizens. But I don't think they're worried about being responsible citizens, Hattie, because they're out robbing folk. All right, Hattie. So what's your first news item?
Aldon Smith has been reinstated by the NFL, and he is set to rejoin the Dallas Cowboys on the roster this year. So he was one of the, I think we talked about it actually on the podcast, where we both thought that he might be a risky fit for the Cowboys, locker room wise and off the field issues wise. But he has been reinstated for the NFL. He's set to join the roster again. So we'll see how that all works out. I still think it's a bad signing, and it will be bad for the locker room. But we'll see how it goes. He's ready to play whenever that may be.
Our buddy Dave, who is a Cowboys fan, he seems to be all about it.
Cowboys fan, all about it.
Yeah, he seems to think he is a reformed choir boy nowadays.
Mm-hmm. I think we actually went. I remember this more in detail now. I went through all the issues he's had, and he's had multiple issues across his entire career. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out.
You know what? Sometimes you need second, third, fourth, and fifth chances.
I think it's like, 9th, 10th, 11th chance for Alden Smith at this point.
All right. So next item I have up here is that team facilities were scheduled to open on the 19th. Not for all player personnel and coaches, but I believe it was just for medical staff and people who are rehabbing injuries. But it is a good first step. We are making progress towards things trending in the right direction. And I think, Hattie, that is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I love to see progress being made. I love that we are not hearing bad, negative news about things going the opposite direction, because that makes me hopeful that we're going to have an actual football season this year.
Yeah, I think we're going to have an actual football season. And that kind of leads me into my next news item, which is the NFL has announced a flexible schedule policy in regards to the coronavirus pandemic in case things change what they are and what they can do. So they are going forward with the regular scheduled program unless things change. And here are the bullet points of what they could potentially do if things are delayed. If the start of the season is delayed, earlier weeks could occur after the currently scheduled week 17. Any week could serve as the opening week. So if it was a 2, 4, 6, 10 week delay, they would start with the current schedule of, say it was week 8, they would just start at week 8, and those previous 7 games would be played after the currently scheduled week 17. So it'd basically be whatever you're playing in the week that they actually start. They'll start at that week. Wow. And all other games will be postponed to later in the season, which I think makes sense. I mean, you got to book out all those venues and everything and scheduling. So if you only have to reschedule, the first bit of the season back rather than redoing every single game.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Because I was thinking, why would they do that opposed to just, at week 8 starting with game 1? But yeah, that makes sense. That way they don't have to reschedule every single game. They only have to reschedule the ones that they missed.
You don't have to reschedule the weeks prior to the start of the season.
That makes sense. That's smart.
As opposed to literally every other game.
Look at that. There are some people that are smart in the NFL headquarters.
Super Bowl would be scheduled for February 7th, but could be pushed back by weeks. Obviously, if it is pushed back, that'll be pushed back. Every team would share the same bye week as their week 2 opponent. So if things did get pushed back, their bye week would serve as their week 2 opponent, which I think is kind of an interesting thing. They would just, skip week 2 essentially and make that everybody's bye week.
Okay.
So, yeah. Do you get that?
No, I don't get that.
I don't really get that either.
You were really hoping that I was going to say, yes, I got it.
I was like, please tell me he gets that.
Oh, Lord. I don't get that, no. And I did hear somebody else say that, but I don't get what it means.
So I think, I'm looking, there's no additional notes or anything, but I think they would just scrap their week 2 opponent.
And play 15 games?
Play 16 games, maybe?
Well, they're already playing 16 games.
It says every team would serve the same bye week as their week 2 opponent. Oh, okay, I get it. So since I got it now. If there was a delay to the season, say it was 4 weeks, and they started at week 5, their week 2 opponent, whatever that was, would be their bye week.
So they don't get a bye?
They do get a bye. So when they reschedule the games after, So after week 17.
Oh, so they
I want to explain this so everyone like gets it. So say they started on week 4. They played their season out throughout that until week 17. Then when they're rescheduled it, they would have their week 1 opponent, whatever that may be for your team. Week 2, whatever that opponent was, would be their bye week opponent.
So they wouldn't get
and
a bye week.
And then they would probably continue after that.
So they wouldn't get a bye week?
So, no, they would get a bye week. But their week 2 opponent, so pretty much their second week.
I take back what I said about there being smart
to be
people.
Rescheduled.
This is confusing, Hattie.
I know. I'm trying to explain it in a way that people will understand.
Well, I'm people, and I ain't understanding, homie.
I'm going to explain it a different way. So, say they start in week 4.
Right.
They continue their season. Mm-hmm. Their week 2 opponent, whatever that would be scheduled as, after week 17. So if they started in week 4, there would be 4 weeks left to their season. But only 3 games would be played. So their week 2 opponent, whatever that was scheduled as, would be their bye week.
So they would get a bye week at the end of the season.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so they would play a game on their actual
for whatever
bye week.
For whatever their rescheduled.
So whoever they were supposed to play week
was
whoever they were supposed
week
to
2.
Right, whoever they were supposed to play week 2, they will end up playing on their scheduled bye week, and then during the end of the season, they won't play a game during that slot because that's going to count as their bye week.
I think they'll still play the game. They'll just schedule it at that point in time for their bye week.
You saying it like that makes no sense to me. But that's okay. We can't spend forever on it because it's a contingency. We can't spend forever.
So look that up and see if you can understand that.
Okay.
That's the way I understand it. I don't think I'm explaining it where people can understand it, but yes.
All right. I will do my best for that to check that out and have a comprehensive knowledge of it because I'll be honest with you, I didn't look at it yet. So yeah, hopefully that won't be an issue. Hopefully things will keep trending in the right direction. I know that there's already some positive traction on a possible vaccine. Yeah. And
the nice thing is the NFL doesn't actually start playing meaningful games until October. So preseason starts in August, and then the regular season September. September.
Yes, September.
August is preseason.
Yes,
September is the kickoff of the season.
Right.
Season. So I mean, we're many months away.
Yeah,
for plans to be put in place to play meaningful football on time.
3.5 months away. Although 3.5 months does not sound like that long.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say I hope week 1 is people in stands so we can go see that Bills Jets game. I really want to go see it.
I would be shocked if there is not football this year. I will say that. I think that there is almost assuredly going to be football this year. I would be shocked also if there were fans in the stands for those games. I think
there'll be fans in the stands. I think it might be potentially limited, like every other seat or every third seat or whatever happens to be.
Maybe.
But I think there'll be fans in the stands for the start of football in September.
Maybe, but then you run into, there's season ticket holders. That's what you have to work out is, there's season ticket holders, that, they usually have 2 or 4 seats.
Yeah.
Your
season tickets are only good for half your stated amount and you'll get a refund for the rest.
Yeah, I guess. We'll see.
It's either refund like half the seats or refund all the seats.
Yes. But
they're in a predicament where, either make half the money or whatever they decide, a third or a fourth or, 3/4, whatever.
I think even having 25,000 people, which would be about a third of what an average stadium holds, I think, even having 25,000 people in one stadium at one time right now, looking out 3.5 months, that seems a near impossibility to me. And that's one person every third seat.
I don't think that's a near possibility. I would go. If it was one every third seat, I would go.
I'm not saying I wouldn't go. What I'm saying is from a PR and from a liability position, I can't imagine the NFL just, 3.5 months from now, which does not feel, we are currently, when did this all start? The beginning, we're 2.5 months.
2 months.
2.5 months because it started at the beginning of March.
Yeah, but significant impact to daily life was 2 months ago.
A little over 2 months.
Obviously, it happened before.
Little
over 2 months ago.
Little over 2 months ago.
Little over.
So
significant impact to daily life.
So from the time that the pandemic started to now, we're not that much further out into the future for this to happen.
We have longer until then than the start of this.
That's true, but it just I feel like the shutdown of the world happened very quick, and the reopening of the world is going to happen slowly and measuredly and cautiously. Largely, speaking, largely anyway. I mean, there are going to be things that are reopening and stuff. I mean, if you had asked me this a month ago, I would have said, yeah, no problem. I mean, we're 4.5 months out. Things will be fine by then. But now here we are, 3.5 months away from the season starting. It just seems to me like that would be a very hard thing for them to be able to figure out and be able to handle logistically and from a liability standpoint, because you're not just exposing the fans to the possibility of danger. You're also putting them, the players who are the real assets here in the situation, make sure that this product continues to be made each week in and week out. You're putting them into a stadium where there's more people breathing and coughing and existing. And I don't know if they would be that cavalier with the players' health.
Players are far away from.
They are, but at the end of the day,
especially in an outdoor stadium.
I mean, who knows how the world's going to be shaping up here 3.5 months. I mean, 3.5 months ago, I would not have imagined we'd be living life the way that we're living it right now.
Another bonus news item that is not covered by either me or you that I know of is the NFL is actually looking into potential masks for the players to wear.
That would be hard,
so
man.
Special masks that breathe better than the normal masks that we would wear with cloth, or the little surgical ones that they hand out everywhere at different places. But that's interesting that they are exploring that possibility.
Yeah.
But a mask for an athlete to wear during a game has to be extremely high performance. Because I know, I actually had to go into work today, and I wore just the normal, the blue and white. The mask that you like. If you think of a mask, that's the one you think of,
right?
And just sitting there, it gets warm and it gets hot and it gets kind of not hard to breathe, but kind of like you have a sheet over your face.
Yeah, listen, I mean,
at night it's you gotta breathe slightly harder. And
right.
It's fine. I work in an office, so I'm just sitting there, but that gets stuffy and hot. I can't imagine an athlete being able to go out and play a sport with that mask on. It's just not possible.
Well, I'm just telling you. I mean, my mask that I have that I wear, that's like a durable. My mom made it for me back when we got back. It's made out of a bandana. It's a nice mask, but it's a little bit on the thicker side. But wearing that mask into the store, it's I gotta pop that thing down over my nose because I'll be getting winded just walking around the grocery store because it's I can't breathe, man.
You're one of the nose breathers, aren't you?
I'm not. I really, really try my best to not be, but it's listen, I got to get some fresh, uninhibited air into my lungs here because, and also I have had coronavirus, so I'm not a risk to anybody at this point. According to all the, all the data right now shows that you can't get reinfected, and if you do get, tested positive again, you're not infectious to other people. So I'm not a risk to anybody else at this point, according to all the research anyway. And also, they say that it does some damage to your lungs. I'm having a hard time breathing through this thick mask, so I do have a thinner surgical mask that I try to use when I can now. I'm going to have to get a thinner one made up here because that one was nice for when it was winter and stuff. But now that we're back from, and it's starting to get hot outside, I can't be carrying this thing around. I need something that's a little bit more breathable.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine there's some fat guys on football teams. Those linemen. They're athletic. They're strong and they're in shape. But they're huge. Their body requires a large amount of oxygen for the tasks that they are completing, and I couldn't imagine them trying to do those things that they're trying to do with something. Because. You never played football, but you're an athletic guy. You've played sports and stuff, a lot of basketball and that kind of stuff. I know how winded I am without anything inhibiting my breathing when I used to play football, and I couldn't imagine trying to do that through a piece of fabric. It'd be wild.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, it like I have a thin surgical. Not surgical, but like
I know what you're talking about. The kind that you would
the
get from
blue,
the doctor's
the blue
office.
and white ones that you would think of in like a medical photo.
Right,
that's what I have.
Before this all happened, when you went to the doctor's office and you had like a cold or something, and they asked you to put a mask on so you didn't infect the other patients.
That's the one I have.
Right. Yes. Yeah, and that's the one.
But we really need to move this thing along.
Yes, we do. So did I just do the one that I did, or no? You just did that one because we were talking about the scheduling. Right?
That was a bonus one that I just threw in.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about opening the team facilities.
Yep, so it's my turn. It's reported that Devontae Freeman has an offer for 1 year, $4 million from the Seattle Seahawks. Just a couple hours ago, that was actually breaking news that he supposedly rejected that initial offer, but he is still in talks with the Seahawks. So we will see what happens there. There's also reports that a couple other teams, such as the Jets and the Eagles, are interested in acquiring him. So
I don't understand that at all.
Devontae Freeman.
I don't understand the Jets being interested in Devontae Freeman at this point. You have Le'Veon Bell, you've got Frank Gore, you've got a couple of the younger guys. You just drafted a guy in the 4th round, 5th round. That's a good prospect for a running back.
Maybe for next year, Devontae Freeman could be your starter, save a little bit of money on Le'Veon Bell, and hope for your new guy to step up in a year. And
what I want
salary cap space.
What I want the Jets to do is go out and freaking get Logan Ryan. He's still available. He's a cornerback. He's had some ups and downs, but I mean, in general, he is better than the quarterbacks we have on the team.
So I actually have some breaking news on the Jets, which I will leave you in limbo for until my last news item.
Oh, man. Look at you.
Look at me.
Being a degenerate.
I know.
So, I have... I'll make this my last topic here, because I got a couple other small ones that I could do, but they're not really newsworthy, and I feel like this one's probably going to take up a little bit of time. Owners are going to vote this week on a proposal by which a team could improve their draft slot by hiring a minority coach or general manager. Thoughts, Hattie?
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the draft spots are based on the position of your team's standings. That's the way it has been. Hiring or not hiring anyone should not impact your draft status. I don't think anything should impact your draft status.
Agreed.
Unless you are like accused of cheating or doing something egregious towards the NFL where they need to punish you in some way, where they take something away or move you in that situation.
Correct.
Anything else, like moving you up or down the draft ladder, is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It should be the way it is currently standard, where the standings in reverse order of success in the previous season. That brings parity to the league. Anything else should not influence your draft position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I will say that I think that me and you obviously both agree that we want to see diversity, in a work field. Diversity is a good thing, obviously. But at the end of the day, I don't think that there is general managers out there or coach or owners, that are unwilling to hire somebody who is, capable, but they're of a minority ethnicity. I think they're trying to hire the best person for the job. And I think the Rooney Rule is a good thing because it does give the opportunity to more exposure to people of different ethnicities, to be able to be given that opportunity to be put in that situation. I don't think this is the way to achieve that goal, though. Because
then what do you? I just don't see any good coming from it.
And I've heard
I think a couple people who are set up to fail are going to get hired, just so teams can, like, if this were to happen, just so teams could, get a better draft pick, and then, fired for some stupid reason or let go or whatever later when they don't work out. You should hire the best candidate that helps your organization regardless of anything else.
Right.
Like, best candidate should win regardless of anything. That is the true equality of everything, is if you are more qualified than person A, you should be hired over person A. That's
For
all
sure.
there is to it.
For sure. Yes. And
No outside influences should affect your true hiring position.
Correct.
If you are trying to hire the best person regardless of anything or any outside influences, and that's the way it should be.
The best thing for equality that you can do is to have a meritocracy, where the only thing that matters in the hiring or firing of a person is their merit. Are they deserving of a job? Are they deserving of being fired? And as wrong as it is to fire a person because they are, black or whatever, it would be equally wrong to hire them just because they're black or whatever. It needs to, everything in every field needs to be a meritocracy. Now, I would be totally on board for saying, let's get a pipeline in place, where there is an incentivized program of some sort to to encourage people, maybe past players, that are no longer able to play the game anymore, to learn how to be coaches and to work their way up through the ranks, because that's what it comes down to. I mean, nobody becomes a coach without being a guy who washes the jock straps first, and then works his way up to being a ball boy, and then works his way up to being a runner for the quarterback coach, and then works his way up to be an offensive lineman coach, and eventually works his way up to be an offensive coordinator, and then maybe a coach. You have to start at the bottom, and maybe that would be the way to go about it. You can't just say, well, we have a ability to benefit in the draft by hiring somebody of a minority group. They need to build up the back end on this, where they're incentivized to train people of a minority group to be in a position like that. Maybe like that, I could see being a viable option to encourage diversity in the positional workplace. But just saying, if you hire somebody that's black, we'll give you an extra draft pick or let you move up 15 spots in the draft. Like that does not seem right to me. It doesn't seem warranted, because, and then how are you going to feel if you're that person that gets hired under those circumstances? I know I would feel like, hey, these guys are only doing this because of what they can get out of it.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Or at least that would always be in the back of my mind. And I would rather earn it the right way than earn it that way, personally. But that's just me. But I don't like the rule. I will say I don't like the rule, and it's not in any way, shape, or form because either of us, are saying that because we, don't like diversity, we don't, like equality. Obvious. I mean, I know myself 100%, and I know Hattie very well. We both are very much in favor of, equality and all those things. But equality means equality. It doesn't mean, elevating any one person above anybody else. It comes down to, everybody's on the same playing field, and whoever's the best gets it. I think that's the best form of equality.
Yeah. So you said that was your last one?
Yeah, I'll make that my last one because we're running out of time here.
All right, so I'll do a rapid fire or two, and then I'll have another discussion point.
Okay.
First one is the Los Angeles Rams. That still feels weird to say.
It does.
They released their new jerseys maybe a week or two ago. Mm-hmm. I think they're really cool. Yeah. I like the bright colors. I like the they have I think they call the color bone. I think
I don't like it. Looks like dirty white is what it looks like. Why are they calling it bone?
You don't like the bone?
No, it's trash. I mean, You're in LA, baby. You got the ability to have it be a crisp white. I mean, you got to make it have that crisp, beautiful, bright, shiny white.
I mean, they have the bright yellow.
Yeah, but
and the bright blue.
But there's nothing better that looks, on a uniform than like a nice crisp white,
Until it gets all dirty.
But that's part of football, man. They're starting out dirty.
Yeah, I love I like the bone ones, and I like I think they call them champagne for the Tampa Bay Bucks, the like kind of brownish, reddish.
Yeah, the pewter look.
I think it's actually pewter, I believe is what they call it. Champagne or pewter colorish. I love the Rams New Jersey. We talked about the Los Angeles Rams logo. More particularly, there's a couple new logos. The LA logo with the horn that makes up part of the A and goes through the L. It's terrible.
It's real
Fortunately, that logo is not shown on any of the uniforms. Just the ram horn on the actual helmet, which I don't mind the look of just the ram horn, and then they have the Los Angeles Rams on the chest of the jerseys, which also looks fine. And I really like the jerseys. I love there's one of them that has like an outline to the number that's kind of like shiny, and then there's like a matte number on the inside, which I think looks really cool. I love the bright colors. I think the Los Angeles Rams jerseys are one of the best newly revealed jerseys that we've had. We've had like 6 of them now this season, right?
There's been quite a few.
Because there's the Browns, there's the Buccaneers. There's been a couple. There's been, I want to say at least 4 or 5.
I will say I like their uniforms mostly.
Just don't like that bone color.
Well, I don't like the bone color because it just looks like, it looks like a pair of white tighties been washed too many times. You know what I'm saying? Been put in with a load of colors or something. It's just got that like denim blue undertone. Like, you forgot, somebody took their pants off with their whitey tighties and washed them both. By the way, who's still wearing whitey tighties?
I hope there's nobody out
why
there
is that still
whitey tighties.
Can I just say that?
Whiteies.
Why is that still a thing in the clothing, like when you go to get a new pair of drawers, some new breeches. Why is whitey tighties taking up an entire rack? Why is anybody still wearing those?
I want to reach out to like Hanes and Fruit of the Loom and be like, how many 10 packs of tighty whiteys do you actually sell a year?
And can I just say this also? Who is sitting in a marketing room somewhere or a design room somewhere and was like, hey, we're making underwear, and we're going to standardize a color for all the underwear that are getting made. Who was like, what we should use for the color for those? Bright white.
White.
Who in the world would ever think, hey, you know what? Something that's in the dirtiest part of your entire body, let's make that white. What an awful idea.
Never. Here's a tip to all the grown men and ladies out there. Yeah. Don't buy white underwear.
Well, I will say this:
don't do it.
A pair of like white cotton panties on a girl can be an okay thing, but we're not going there, Hattie. We're not going into that realm. But
those are like a once a year thing where they're there and you never wear them any other time.
Exactly, but
they're just crisp white.
Yeah.
You wear them once, and you get rid of them.
Yes, but like genuinely, like why was that the thing that every pair of underwear for a long time was like white, like stark white? That's no good.
I don't know. It should be black. Black should be the standard
black
color.
Or dark
Nothing
gray, something like that, right? Because that makes sense. But anyways,
or brown. You don't see them.
Yeah, but anyway,
for the most part.
So this bone white, as you call it, I call it. You left your britches in your jeans when you took them off because you were hopping in the shower and nobody caught it, and then they got washed with the colors. It just looks like a dingy white. It's no good. It's no good at all.
It's no good at all.
But that's not my biggest pet peeve, though, Hattie. Mm-hmm. My biggest pet peeve is the numbers. They look like they're from Nickelodeon.
What?
They're too bubbly and round, and then they got the stupid.
I like the numbers.
They got the stupid. They got the stupid color gradient on them, where they go from yellow to white. I
love the color gradient.
Oh, jeez.
I love the one of them has like a shiny, like a glossy outside border to the matte inside. I love it.
That's not even the worst part.
I think they look so good.
That's not even the worst part. The worst part is that the numbers on the arms are different than the numbers on the body. They're different fonts.
So I can't say I noticed that.
They're different fonts. What are you doing?
I mean, that's fine.
You can't switch from like Gothic to Times New Roman. You know, you can't switch from Helvetica over to Wigwam.
Arial?
Yeah, Arial. Whatever you want to choose.
Wigwam.
It's the only one that came to mind. You know why?
That's why I helped you out with the Arial there.
Yeah, Wigwam was the one that I always used when I was screwing around. I was like, this one nobody can read. It's like hieroglyphics.
Right.
But yeah, makes absolutely no sense. It's trash. It's no good. Nobody wants different font types on one uniform. Agree or disagree?
I can't say I noticed it, but I mean, if as long as it looks good, I don't care.
Yeah, but other than that, I think the colors are nice. I think everything other than the numbers are nice, especially on those blue and the yellow jersey or uniforms. I think those are real sharp looking.
I think they're sharp and bright. So talking about underwear and things, Tom Brady. He's been known over the years to not like the old butt sweat very much. So he actually taught his new center with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Ryan Jensen, how to particularly fold his towel to avoid an excessive sweaty butt. So. If you're a quarterback, you got to get your hands down in there to hike the ball and everything. You don't want to have any wetness. So he's bringing some skills to the Buccaneers, changing the locker room over there. These are skills that they could pass along. These are things that could stay. I mean, if it helps out, why not?
I mean, here's the thing. This might be the one thing that I agree with Tom Brady on. You know, I mean, it certainly isn't making out with your son. But I agree with Tom Brady when it comes to not wanting another grown man's butt sweat all over my hands. But why not wait till training camp? Like, why you got to be like, I know that I'm the new guy in town here, and I know that we haven't developed a real good, close relationship yet. But by the way, this is how you will be folding your laundry from now on, so as to not get butt sweat on my hand.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if there's a technique that actually helps, why not share it? So my last one is the breaking. This is the breaking news.
I'm interested to hear
about the New York Jets. That according to multiple well-known insiders and sources, that the New York Jets are very close to acquiring wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. from the Cleveland Browns.
Nuh-uh.
Yes,
are you serious?
100% serious. I would not be announcing it on the podcast if I was not serious. But yes, according to multiple well-renowned and trusted sources, the New York Jets are close to acquiring OBJ.
What, dude? What?
So that would help over there a lot on the wide receiver crews.
Very good.
The only thing I saw this story and I'm like, where the heck are the Green Bay Packers? Because whatever this deal is, if it's a first-round draft pick for next year, a first and a fourth-round draft pick, as we saw with Stephon Diggs for the Buffalo Bills, getting him, like, where are they? Why are they not making deals for players like this who are clearly being shopped? Because we've heard multiple rumors of OBJ possibly being, used in trade deals and stuff like that. Where are they? But good for the Jets for going out there and trying to find stuff. That's an insider one right there.
Well, what are your sources here? Because I'm not seeing it on Google.
I'm not going to say my sources on the air. I'll tell you in private, but I can't tell you over the air.
You need to.
They're legit.
You have to cite your sources.
I don't have to sell you anything.
Yes, you do. Even when Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter,
Nah, they usually say a well-known source.
Unless they're citing something that they heard from Adam Rappaport or something.
Correct.
Ian Rappaport. Okay, so you don't have inside sources, so where are you getting this information? Because I'm not seeing anything.
How do you know I don't have inside sources?
Because I know for a fact you don't.
That's an inside source that I am sending you via text message right now, but I'm not going to say that on the
you don't have an inside source, Handy.
You need to have some inside sources, and you need to have some good information. That's just what I heard, and that's my last news item. So,
all right, well, let me say this then.
That's it.
That information that Hattie just said, consider it gossip at this point because nobody else is reporting it.
It is not gossip. And it is not nobody.
Unless you're willing to name names, I'm calling it gossip.
I'm sending you a text message right now with the information.
All right, well, I'm waiting for it to come through.
Well, we should conclude this podcast.
All right, well, we want to thank our listeners. You guys are amazing because this episode was a little bit, it was a little geehot. It was a bit of a foobar. All right. It started out bad because of the recording issues on my end. It was 2 days late because of the memory issues on Hattie's end. And then there was some phone call issues during the podcast due to Verizon's end. So this one was maybe somebody somewhere was drinking Shackletons tonight, Hattie, because this episode was a bit cursed.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for sure.
We do want to thank you guys if you're still listening for continuing to be here. And why wouldn't you just cite that reference, Hattie?
Nah, you never cite references, man.
But that's simply not true. I just got the text message, guys. I don't understand why you wouldn't just tell people where it came through on.
Nah, you never do that. You want to keep people coming back to the Grown Man's Podcast?
Yeah, you don't do that by spreading nefarious rumors without citing.
I didn't spread nefarious rumors.
Well, I don't know that news organization, so I don't. Do you trust that news organization?
I mean, more than just a rumor, but less than a guarantee.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll see how that plays out. We want to thank our listeners for sticking around through this nonsense, tomfoolery, shenanigans, what have you and whatnot. And we also want to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. If you guys feel like supporting the episode or supporting the podcast or the episode, you can do that by going over to patreon.com/growmanspodcast. Only if you guys think we deserved it. If you don't think we deserved it, don't donate $1 a month. If you like the show and you think we deserved it, we earned it, feel free to become a grown man, support the podcast over there. And, you get I don't know if it's every week. It's not every week. But, probably at least half the weeks we do a Patreon episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
we try to do every week, but sometimes time just doesn't allow.
That's true. But we would really appreciate it.
It's much more easier when we're sitting across from the table from each other, because then we could do something goofy or a tasting or something stupid or photos or something for the Patreon. Makes it a lot difficult when we are in the current situation.
Very true.
But we will have something this week, hopefully.
Yes.
Well, we already have something for this week, so that'll be up as soon as I edit it and put it out there.
Yep. And also, if you're not able to do that, because we totally understand that not everybody's able to support, the podcast on Patreon. Please do rate and review the podcast on whatever podcast app you're listening to. I know Apple is for sure able to do reviews, so do those 5-star reviews and let us know what you think about the show in the little blurb. But also, I think Google Podcasts allows you to do ratings on the podcasts. A couple other ones too. I'm not sure exactly. But please think about doing that as well. We also want to thank the actual sponsor for the show, which is manscaped.com. We really do appreciate the sponsor and the support that we get from them. We want you guys to go over there and check them out as well. They do have a full line of men's grooming products that you guys will absolutely love. I know that me and Hattie both love the stuff they sent to us, and we want you guys to be able to enjoy that stuff and be smelling good and looking good for your wives also. So make sure that you go over there, manscaped.com, use promo code GROWN, and you're going to get 20% off and free shipping. And other than that, Hattie, I think you can go ahead and roll the music and we'll get to the whiskey tasting.
All right, let's do it.
Roll it. Welcome in to the show after the show. It's the whiskey tasting. You guys know it. You love it. We love it too. Don't you love it, Hattie?
Oh man, the show after the show is the greatest show after the show that I ever heard.
That's true. Because
I ever talked in.
Because most
I ever podcasted in.
Well, that's
great.
Definitely true. But most shows don't have shows after the show. They're just the show.
Yeah.
And that's no good.
You only get show after the shows in Marvel movies and the Grown Man's Podcast, which is arguably better than Marvel movies. But who knows?
It's definitely better.
You gotta let us know.
It's definitely better. I care less about Marvel movies.
I don't know about that. I love Marvel movies.
I don't care anything about Marvel movies or any superhero movies.
You're a very weird person.
How is that weird?
When it comes to this. Marvel movies are awesome.
How are Marvel movies awesome? They're like, it's like they're the most cheesy acting and the most predictable lines. There's nothing.
I mean, I could go into a billion reasons of why they're good, but that's way too nerdy and not what we do here at the Grown Man's
Listen,
Podcast.
we can do whatever we want after the show.
And
no, this is the after show. We don't talk about football in the after show. It's a little bit taboo. Yeah, this is
I don't think there's any like written rules about what we can or can't talk about.
Hey, don't make me write it down.
I mean, there is only one rule. We must talk about whiskey, at least in some way, or just say the word whiskey.
So
we should do that sometime in the show after the show. Just be like whiskey and talk about everything else but whiskey.
Well, what kind of whiskey are you?
Let's throw whiskey in there.
What kind of whiskey are you drinking tonight? Let's start there. Let's get this thing back on the right foot here, Hattie.
All right. I'm actually drinking a mix. My own personal mix.
A little blend.
Yeah, it's a little personal blend.
A little master blender.
Hey, you had that last one that we made, and that was pretty good.
It was very good. I think we even talked about it on the whiskey tasting a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or whatever the case might be.
I think we did. So I actually told you guys that the second one that we made, me and another buddy, was actually better than the first one.
Really?
I will say, now that it's been sitting in the decanter probably 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Okay. It consistently gets worse as the time goes on.
Really?
Which is weird for a whiskey. Yeah, it does.
That's very weird.
It's sharper and the flavors, like it's getting, I don't know. Like
maybe you had more whiskey the first time that you had. Maybe I will say
the first time I tried it was the first thing I had.
Huh.
Yeah, like it was excellent the first time, very good the second, and I've had it. This is probably the fourth time, and last time I had it, I was like, that's kind of getting not great, and this time I'm having it again. It's not aging well. I mean, there's only like, probably less than an inch left in the decanter that I put it in, so there's lots of airspace, so it will change the flavor. But yeah, it's not getting better.
Interesting. So when I got home today from work because of the whole bear situation, I brought my pistol in with me from my car, and obviously I'm not going to go leave it in my dresser or something for one of my kids to find. So I put it on the desk where I knew I was going to be recording my podcast. So through the entire episode tonight, I've been playing with my pistol. And I've been trying to do it quietly, but I don't know if there's probably, if you hear clicks and stuff like that happening throughout, it's probably me playing with my pistol.
That's you taking the clip in and out?
Yep. And, racking the slide and, popping out the bullet that's in the chamber and...
Yeah. So I also have a pistol, but I live in town, so I can't actually shoot it. So I play with mine a lot. I pop the clip out, change the other one in, cock it, put a bullet in the chamber, and then take it out and put it back in the clip just to play with it a little bit.
We're essentially just little boys.
Shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like playing with it, but I can't really do anything with it right now.
Well, that's what she said. But it's so satisfying to play with a gun. Here, I'm gonna since I got it in front of me here, and I've been dying to do this entire episode. I'm gonna rack the slide into the microphone so you guys can hear it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good sound.
Here, I'll do it one more time. There you go. Oh, it's a weird parabola look on the Audacity audio file there. It's like a weird like big line and then like a weird like swooping line for the thing. Very interesting.
Huh.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with the. Since we've been in quarantine and we've been not sitting across the table from each other, we have to kind of like line up our audios.
Yes.
The little backstage, behind the scenes look.
Peek behind the curtain.
Little peek behind the curtain of how this is made. We do a loud clap, which I do every week, which kind of like puts a spike on our audio recording so I can line up the two audios. But mine's always like a real sharp spike because I'm obviously doing it in my mic, and then over the phone into your mic, you have like a sharp spike, and there's usually a reverb on your audio clap. So I gotta line up like the first mark on yours against the only mark on mine.
Interesting.
To make it work. So it's kind of weird how audio works. How
it is.
You get like, I mean, obviously it's slightly delayed because it's over the phone. And then you have like a reverb on yours as well.
Yeah, I haven't had to do that yet because I have had to edit and put out a couple of the podcasts that we've done over the course of the last almost year now, but never when we were recording in two different locations. So I haven't had to try to mix up or master together two audio files into one. So I haven't had that issue yet. So that's interesting.
Yeah, this looks a little different. You got to zoom in way more to line up like your first spike to my spike.
You're gonna have some editing to do today on this one, Hattie, because there was at one point we had to stop the recording. I had to restart my computer and I had to reopen the file that I had saved. So there's gonna be and I don't know. The last 3 or 4 episodes we've been able to just do on one shot through without having to stop once.
Yeah, they've been pretty smooth.
Very smooth.
First, I think it usually takes me like a normal podcast usually takes me about 45 to an hour to edit.
Yeah.
That's with adding all the music and like changing things, cutting some stuff out. Like it's pretty streamlined. Like usually under 45 minutes.
Do you usually cut stuff out?
If it's decent. Oh yeah.
Do you?
Every episode. Yeah, we usually have some weird pauses or some weird crazy throughout the video through the audio, and I usually cut that stuff out.
Do you? I don't ever. I guess I wouldn't because it's not naturally in the conversation, but
Yeah, but usually in the course of two people talking for an hour and 20 minutes, there's a weird pause or one of us just being like,
That's true.
Or, and this is the thing I actually wanted to say, stuff that I usually cut that out because nobody wants to hear that. Like, you say 3 ums in a row, and you don't need that.
Yeah.
You just cut it out.
Huh.
So I usually cut that stuff out.
Interesting.
I mean, some episodes are better than others.
Yeah.
Some episodes, like, I make, 5 cuts, maybe, of, like, different weird spaces or... different things.
This is a peek behind the curtain for the listener as much as it is for me, Hattie. I had no idea, buddy. Look at you just being a diligent editor over there. I had no idea. I
tried.
I thought you just slapped a little bit of music in and then just sent her on her way. Give her a little tap on the butt.
Nah.
No, all right.
I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
You're too responsible.
And really, I mean, the podcasts are only, I don't give, I have another job and limited time, so I only can spend so long on them, but... I wish they were a little bit better. Yeah. But, getting there. As we, obviously as we podcasted for longer, we're in our, 55th show at the moment.
Very interesting.
We've gotten better with different stuff, so less and less editing, which is good.
Yeah.
I will say the first time that we ever did the like across town thing, oh boy, that took me like close to 3 hours.
Did it really?
The first one. Oh, because that's when we were not doing it in one shot. We were cutting like after every section like we normally do when we're face to face.
Yeah.
But, a cut when you're face to face on one file, right. Like the program that we use to record, like puts a nice little marker there so yep, everything's in sync. So you could just like, oh, that's our cut, add the transition music and go on to the next section. Very easy. When you're doing a cut, when you're not right across from each other and you're across
rematch
town,
it up and cut the
that
file
means you got to rematch up the audio. You got to cut all the like little things that we talk about what we're going to do next and like the planning of like starting and the clap and all that kind of stuff. and make that all sync up. So
Look
it's
at
a
that.
little more difficult.
Look at that, Hattie. You're brilliant, Hattie. You're a true
I don't know about brilliant.
No,
but
don't be humble here. You're a master of your craft.
We put a okay show together.
Yeah.
I would give us like a 6 out of 10 stars at the moment.
For this episode?
This episode, I think this is below average.
Do you think so? I think it was okay.
This is like a 5.5.
We had a lot of errors on this episode, but I think the content was okay. You don't think the content was okay? I think it was fine.
I think us talking is fine. I mean, I think that's why people tune into this podcast is for us talking and talking about weird and crazy things.
Do you want to tell people about the statistic that we found out about our podcast? You want to tell people about that?
Yeah.
I mean, only
Sure,
the
we
only people that are
are
listening right now are going to be the true listeners, because listening like
That is true.
15 minutes into the whiskey tasting about us editing the podcast and stuff that they don't care about, probably anyway.
Well, I wish I would have looked at the exact number now that you're bringing it up, but we are at least at some points a top 200 podcast in our category in the world. So
that's crazy.
That's good.
In the fantasy sports podcast realm, we are top 200 in the world.
Yeah, I know we were in the 100 somewhere at one. Obviously, it changes weekly. You know, those statistics are tracked weekly, but yeah.
And I don't know.
In the top 200, but I believe we cracked 150, but I can't guarantee that because I didn't look at all the numbers. I haven't had time to look at the whole analytics spreadsheet. But top 200 confirmed.
Is that top fantasy sports or top fantasy football?
I believe it's fantasy sports, but I'm also not 100% sure on that because, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I've had a real crazy week.
I'll tell you, even if it was fantasy football, there's a lot of podcasts out there. So to crack,
there's a lot of podcasts. Like if we're top 200 in fantasy football, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and we didn't get there without.
And
you
I know
guys.
we cracked. I believe we cracked 152, but I'd have to look at the spreadsheet to be sure.
We were doing pretty good at the end of the football season. We were doing pretty decent numbers there. Obviously, in the off season here, it's dropped off, but that's to be expected. So I'm not worried about it.
I think the draft episodes where we covered the draft and stuff, we obviously got to pick up because people are actually searching for that content, as opposed to the off season where we can't tell you about the hottest, free agent fantasy pickups or, what certain teams did. It's, it's a little bit different during the off season, but hopefully people keep coming back just to hear our insights on things.
I appreciate it. I appreciate every download. I'll tell you, when I see a new state or a new country, because that's what I watch. I watch to see what states we have listeners in, and I watch to see what countries we've got. We've got in probably like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 different countries. We've had listeners from, and I would venture a guess that we've probably had listeners in most states. Definitely. I would feel comfortable saying probably 80% of the states in the U.S.
I would say higher than that. I would say 90, but
yeah, it might be 90, but definitely at least 80. Which that's pretty good. Considering that we do have an online presence, but we're not. I'm not like a social media whore. I run the social media, and I'm not like out there like just looking for followers, and I don't care who you. I look for followers of people who aren't degenerates, and people that have something to contribute, and that's who I'm looking for. I'm not looking to just pad the numbers. I'm just I like to grow organically with a decent person, for the most part.
Yeah.
So considering that,
I mean, I wish you would just whore yourself out and get us some numbers, but
You know what, Hattie? I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm gonna do it the way that it feels comfortable and feels right. I'm gonna do it organically.
Nah, I like good people, and I want to have those people listen to our podcast if at all possible.
I don't want to deal with a bunch of rat people on the feed.
A bunch of rat people.
Yeah, we don't need that. You don't want that, Hattie, even if you think you want it.
I mean, I don't have to deal with them because I don't have to deal with any social media.
That is very true. And I do, so I do care. So yeah, it is what it is. But we went way too long on this, Hattie. This is.
You have to remember, I got to work after.
We're almost. So, it's almost midnight where we are when we're recording right now. So.
Oh yeah.
We are, and I got a wife that's probably mad at me for making her stay in the room for the entire night and while I recorded, and we're sacrificing here. I bet you Hattie's probably got a angry wife on his end too. It's like, come on, when are you going to be done with this stupid podcast already? But you know what? We're out here. We're slaving for you guys because we love you and we care about you.
Yeah, my wife doesn't get mad. Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah, your wife doesn't get that mad.
She's pretty easygoing. Yeah. But my work's not going away.
What?
My work's not going away that I have to get done by tomorrow morning.
Yep,
so
that ain't so.
I need to get right on that.
We got to wrap it here, Hattie.
Oh yeah.
I gotta.
Should have wrapped it an hour ago.
I gotta go out and shoot my gun or something. Scare that bear away. I probably shouldn't do that. I've had a couple drinks, so I'll probably not go outside and shoot my gun off. But
you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I probably won't.
Save it for a time that you can have me up, so we
gotta do that soon, Hattie.
Oh, I'll tell you off air, but I have some more free time coming my way.
All right. Well, yeah. we'll talk about that off air. I just dropped a bullet. Oh, there it is. Oh boy, we're just getting real loosey goosey.
All right, that's good. I'm just gonna end it for you.
Yeah,
T-Bone.
end it here.
That's
Hattie.
the end of our podcast. Thank you very much for listening.
Check you later.